Okay, welcome to the course. My name is Birgitte Brydsö, and I work for HPC2N. And I have my colleague here also, Pedro. Pedro, do you want to introduce yourself?
Yes, my name is Pedro Ojeda, and I am also an application expert at HPC2N, and I will help in this course as well with the applications part.
Yes. So if we look at the schedule, well, we'll do that in a moment. So I'll just start, but I will take the first part while Pedro helps out with questions, and then he will take the second part with the applications, and I will then help out with questions. So you'll find the material at the link that I sent to you, and it's this one here at GitHub, where we have the intro course, and you can download the Markdown file if you want to, as well as the exercises. If you are on this GitHub page and go to code, and then you can either pick download zip or you can clone it. And it has to be the HTTPS one because you don't have access to the SSH one. That's only for people who are members of the project, that GitHub project, not the course one. So what you would do is you copy this and then you would clone it. So what I'm going to do now, I'm going to SSH to Kebnekaise. And I'm going to go to the project storage. And it's called Spring Courses. And there I already created a directory for myself. If you haven't, then use mcode dir and then whatever you want to call it. I'm just using my username because it's an easy way of making a unique name for my directory. As you can see, I also put the exercises here. So it's also possible to just copy them from there. But I'm going to go to my directory. There's nothing in it. And I'm going to do git clone and then this link that I copied here from code. And then it will clone it into my directory here. And you can do that, or you can copy this exercises tar gz file. If you wanted to do that, you would just go to your directory and then you said copy, and it would be back up one exercises, and you would put it here. And you can see now I have both. You shouldn't do both, just do one of them. So this is opened with tar, and it's also described. And then you can unpack it, and you have the exercises. The exercises are also inside this intro course directory. It's here. So either way works. And there are some links here about Linux. If you need a short refresher, then we have a Linux tutorial here. And there's also a Get Started guide for HPC2N if you want to look at that later. And then in general, the documentation pages at HPC2N are here. So they look like this. And there are the general documentation for instance, how to use the batch system or if you forget a password. And there's some tutorials, a beginner's guide to clusters, a Linux guide, a getting started guide, and a connection guide of how you log into the system from different types of operating system, and to both the terminal window, the thin link, and the open on demand. We will talk more about all of those. If you need help with the software, there is also a lot of documentation here from an introduction to the module system to something about how you install some software yourself and which application software is already there. So there's a lot of documentation here. So the prerequisites for this course, well, that's basic knowledge about Linux, and it's really basic. You just need to be able to move around in the file system and create directories, and you can find the recordings here, and you can also take the course again, the Linux course, and we are giving that as part of the NICE intro week on the 2nd February of 2026, so this year. And you can register on this page here. You also need an account at Super and at HPC2N, and I have contacted all of you about getting an account at Super, and I have also added you to the course project if you had an account in Super, and then you could get accounts at HPC2N. So the content of this course, it's a brief and comprehensive introduction to Kebnekaise, and we'll look both at HPC2N and HPC in general and the Kebnekaise hardware. And then we'll go into looking at how to use our systems. There is projects and accounts, logging in and editors, and the file system, the module system, compiling and linking, and the batch system. And there will be some simple examples for how to use the batch system. And then Pedro will take over with some application examples to see how you use the batch system to run with some of the software that's already installed and your own software and things like this. So it will be lectures, it will be type-alongs, and then some exercises where you try things out. And the instructors have presented themselves. There is some info here that's important. It's also on the important info page that you got in the letter. There's a course project. It's this one. You should all be members of it. It has the project storage that belongs to the project. It's in this directory here. And you should create a subdirectory, as I said, for yourself. Make sure it's unique. That's why I use username or my name. It's always useful because it's unique, the username. You can download the material as I showed you before. You can do git clone, and this one here, it shows, so you can just copy it, or you can just copy the exercises tarball. There is one reservation for the course. This is an error. No, sorry, there are two reservations, but only one for each type. There's one for the CPUs and one for the GPUs. The GPU one is two L40Ss, and the CPU ones are AMD Zen 4s. These reservations should not be necessary to add. I believe I made them magnetic, which means that it should, per default, make you run in that if you just use the course project. And that should make it run faster. Of course, we only have two GPUs and two CPUs, so if you run something very long, then no one else can get to run. So with the small examples we have, it should not be a problem. There's a Q&A page. That is this one here. I shared the link to it. That's where you can write questions. And the important info page contains this info and some more. And there's also an evaluation survey for the course. I'll remind you about it after the course when I send you also links to the recordings. Okay, time for the schedule. We have now the welcome and syllabus. It was supposed to be done at 9:10. It took a little longer because we started 5 minutes later. Then we'll go to the intro to Kebnekaise and HPC2N and HPC. Then we'll continue to projects and accounts. and logging in and editors, including the open on demand system, will have a break. And then the file system, the module system, something about how to compile, and the batch system, just overview and descriptions of it. There'll be a lunch break, and after that, we'll look at the simple batch scripts examples, and you will try and run those. And then after that, Pedro will take over, and he will first, we will start looking at the application examples. There will be a break, and then he'll continue with the application examples. There is going to be some code alongs and exercises for that, so you can try that out. And we will end at the latest at 5 o'clock, possibly earlier, depending on how many questions there are and which software you're interested in. And there'll also be a Q&A period here at the end where you can ask more questions. So I will continue to the intro